What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Hope all of you are having a great day so far. Getting into this episode of GH. I enjoyed this episode. I did. Um, that scene between Ned, Michael, and Drew. I was totally on Ned's side. I was mostly on his side with this merger business because Ned is pretty much the oldest grandchild, I believe. I believe he's the oldest when it comes to Edward's grandchildren. I want to say he the oldest. Isn't that the oldest? Anyway, he up there in age, but he's basically the patriarch at this point. He's earned his dues in that family over the years, and I totally understand where Ned is coming from because he feels that Michael and Drew have been making plans for this merger without discussing it with him. They haven't told him a damn thing. He didn't find out about the merger talk until Leo's adoption party. That's the first he ever heard of a merger. They've literally been having behind closed doors discussions about this. But Michael was trying to claim, oh, we're in the early stages of conversation. It didn't seem like that to me. And clearly Ned didn't feel the same way because the way they were talking, they had this whole merger thing all figured out. So they were talking in pretty great detail about this. So if you got everything all figured out, how is it in the early stages? Usually when something is in development, you don't have this figured out, that figured out, this figured out, who gonna do this, who gonna do that. They pretty much had a lot figured out already. So clearly they've been having discussion about this. And I don't blame Ned for feeling left out and pushed to the side. And I feel like Michael and Drew were trying to placate him. I definitely feel like they were trying to coddle him and try to pat him on the head like a little child. Um and patronize him, and they sitting there talking about, oh well, you know we're gonna find a position for you and stuff like that, but it's not gonna be similar to like the CEO. You could tell Ned felt offended by that whole conversation, like y'all were just trying to throw him a bone at this point, because Michael sitting there talking about, oh well, we'll let you know what's going on when we make the when it's time for it. And Ned was like, when it's time. I don't blame him for feeling that way because Ned has sacrificed a lot for ELQ over the years. You know what I'm saying? Even recently. He was running around so busy with the company, he was neglecting his marriage. His marriage was falling apart because he was putting everything else above that, including ELQ. And this is the thanks he get? All the years that he had to jump in when Edward needed him and he and fixed that company back. And this is the thanks he gets? He gets put out to pasture. That's trifling. That's pretty messed up. Who the hell do Michael and Drew think they are to be making the major decisions regarding ELQ? Like, are you serious? They ain't nothing but some young bucks. Don't get me wrong, that next generation is the one that's going to take the company to newer heights. You need the young generation because they have these fresh new ideas to, generate more money. Don't get me wrong. Michael has done a great job as CEO with ELQ. But my thing is, why not include Ned in these discussions? You know what I'm saying? Why not put your heads together collectively to talk about this? Why is it just the two of them talking? If I was Ned, I would feel some type of way about that too. Because if y'all really felt like I was a partner and I was a part of this thing, y'all would have came to me and talked to me about it. Y'all would have included me in the beginning. But yet y'all are having behind the scenes conversations and I'm not privy to a damn thing. I don't blame Ned. I don't blame him. I would have felt the exact same way. He just feels like he's being pushed to the side and I can't fault him for it. I hope Michael and Drew know what they're doing. I really do. Because when push comes to shove, you're going to need your family. So I hope it's all worth it. In my opinion, I felt like there's other ways of getting Valentine the hell out of the company rather than merging this company. ELQ doesn't need a merger. It's better off as one sole independent company. You know? Just my thought on it. Hopefully they can figure it out and work it out. But Ned, he's not going to take this line down because they better remember who they talking to. He is the son of Tracy, so you never know what tricks might be up his sleeve. You never know. So anyway, moving on from that, I'm glad Willow decided to take the DNA test. Because Michael was trying to tell her, "Oh, I could run interference and talk to Dante and talk to Diane." Why do all of that? Just run the damn DNA test. That's all they're asking you to do, so that way they could prove a motive that Harmony um killed Neil and Brendan because you were not her daughter. Like, just run the daggone test. Ain't no need to run interference or nothing. I don't know why Michael wanna. I understand he wants to spare her from doing all this because it's emotional for her, but you still you gotta do what you gotta do. But I'm glad Alexis stopped by to let her know about the whole Joan situation. That little stupid story Harmony told her about Joan and the commune in Colorado and all that foolishness. When she told Willow about that, Willow didn't even trust that that was real. And I don't blame her. I mean, she doesn't really believe anything that really came out of Harmony's mouth too much. She did believe that Harmony, wanted to be a real friend to Alexis. That part I could believe. I believe at one point it was genuine for Harmony, but then it just went left. Um, and I totally agree with Alexis. I feel like Harmony was the master at pretending. She was good at making you think she was turning a corner and she's a good person, and she laid it on pretty thick, like she was convincing. Um, but I'm glad Willow gonna try to get to the bottom of this. Like I'm glad because she needs to. I don't know if she really wants to, because once you find out, it's like there's no going back once you're on this path. And speaking of finding out, Carly was up at Charlie's and whatnot. That scene was hilarious when Carly walked up. Cause Carly gathered Ava and Nina. She had both of them on stuck. Like they ain't had nothing to say. Because Carly walked up and was like, when the hell y'all become best friends and stuff? She was like, she did induce your labor and steal your baby from you. And here y'all are all buddy buddy and I said that is true because sometimes I be wondering that shit too. I'm like, I be surprised at how far Nina and Ava have come in their friendship. I'm like, who would have ever thought Nina and Ava would be friends? I mean, you done slept with her husband back in the day, got pregnant. Years later, she done induced your labor, snatched a child out your vajayjay and took off with her. And here y'all are sitting here, breaking bread together. That's shocking to me. So I totally understand where Carly was coming from with that. See, Ava knew. Ava was like, listen, I'm going home. She said, I gotta go. She said it's late. I'ma leave. That was smart, Ava. Just let them have a moment and you go on about your business. I felt like Nina was very two-faced in that scene. Like, on the one hand, she was just talking hella shit about Willow. And then in the next breath, she gonna ask Carly, "Oh, give Willow my condolences. I really care for her." You were just talking shit about her. Ava pretty much asked you, like, are you gonna back off of her a bit because she just lost her mother? And your response was pretty much no. That you're pretty much sicking Scott on her. You didn't give a damn that that woman just lost her mother, And now all of a sudden you want to give your little fake condolence. See, that's that little phony stuff. Nina was very phony, and I'm glad even Carly wasn't buying it. I'm like, because I wasn't buying it. It was phony, very two faced. Because Nina's claiming, oh, I just want peace. I just want this. I want that. I just want to spend a little time with Wiley. And Carly was not here for none of that foolishness she was talking. She was not here for it. I am glad that she realized that she's made mistakes, though, and that she hurt people, because she needs to acknowledge that, and I'm glad Nina finally did acknowledge it. The problem with Nina is sometimes when she do acknowledge stuff, she tries to sweep it under the rug like it still never really, like it wasn't no big deal. It's like it was a huge deal, It was a huge deal. Um, but that whole I want peace, I want this, I'm like, if you really wanted peace, you would have went about things a different way than what you did. I think a lot of them could have handled this situation better. Not just Nina. I feel like Carly could have handled certain things better. Michael and Willow could have handled certain things better. I mean, it's a lot of their actions that brought them into the situation that they're all in today. It wasn't just one of them, it was all. You know what I'm saying? It was all their actions. Um, and it was so funny because Carly was trying to rub it in her face. Like, Carly was definitely saying some shit to get under Nina's skin. Because you know how catty Carly can be. And I don't blame her. I don't blame her. I mean, that woman slept with her man. Like, She ain't about to sit here and be like Ava and break bread with your ass. That ain't gonna happen. Better be lucky she sat down with you to have a semi cordial conversation, a somewhat cordial conversation. And Nina ought to be lucky Carly ain't slapping the shit out of her right about now. Because I don't know too many women, you sleep with somebody's husband and they just sitting there, talking with you or whatever, trying to be cordial, trying to be somewhat nice, even though it wasn't really nice, but, Carly standards, it was nice. Um, but any other female probably would have just knocked the hell out of her. But she didn't. She let it go. I'm gonna be totally honest. Do I think Nina really cares about Wiley? Yeah, I do believe she cares about him. But do I feel like she's a lot of the stuff she does is for selfish purpose? Yes, I do. It's not. I don't feel like this is all about Wiley for her. I don't think so. I think she cares for the boy. I think they all do, but I do feel like they all are trying to be petty here, and they're losing perspective, like of what all of this is about. All of this is supposed to be about the boy, and they're all taking their little pettiness to a whole nother level. Um, but I am glad that Carly asked the tough questions of Phyllis because Carly was being a little phony too. Because Carly came up in there talking about, "Oh, I just came here to check on you after the robbery." Ma'am, no, you didn't. I feel like she liked Phyllis, but it's obvious that Carly didn't really come near to check on her. She came near because she had ulterior motives. She needed information. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, Phyllis was Nina's nurse at one point. During her pregnancy and her comatose and all that stuff, she was her nurse. So she wants to know if Phyllis knew about the twin situation. So she was like, "Oh, you were there, when Nina gave birth." And we finally got some information. Phyllis was not present when Nina gave birth. She was not there. So she had no idea. She had no clue that Nina had twin girls. So I said, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense because Phyllis is Team Nina all through and through. She loves Nina. So I'm pretty sure if she knew about a second child, she would have told Nina about it. I'm pretty sure she would have. So that eliminates that. And Carly was like, "You know what?" She thought about it. She said, she thought about what Dante said about DNA. So she grabbed Nina's wine glass, and my guess is she probably gonna go get it, probably get a sample of Willow's DNA, and she gonna test it to confirm what Harmony told her. Now, after she does all that, what she does with that information, I don't know. I would hope that she would go to Willow and tell her with concrete proof. My opinion, I feel like Carly should have told Willow right after Harmony told her what she said. And I say that because it's not really Carly's responsibility to get DNA testing and all that stuff done. She could have just told Willow and let Willow do it herself. Because Willow's now on a mission to find out who her birth parents are. You know what I mean? So that would have been a good thing for her. Just let her know so that way she ain't got to run around, like a deer caught in headlights and try to figure this thing out herself. You could have just gave her that information and she could have did what she had to do with it. But you know how Carly is. She always got to insert herself in everybody else's stuff, I guess. Um. So anyway, moving on from that. Listen, I totally understand where Trina coming from. She's not the type of person, she does not like to stoop to other people's level, and I totally respect that about her. But if you're going to call Ava for some advice, for some help on what you should do next, you better be prepared. Because you know how Ava is. Ava going to get you to scheme. Because that's the whole reason she called Ava. She was like, "You're the only person I know that can out scheme Esme." So Ava came up with an interesting, proposal. She was like, Esme's vulnerable. Her vulnerability is her jealousy of Trina. She said, use her jealousy to your advantage. I agreed with that because it was a smart plan. It's very smart. Flirt with Spencer in front of Esme. Get her riled up. That's what you should do. Ava knows what she's talking about because remember, Ava did that to Sonny. That's how Ava, before, got full custody of Avery because she knew Sonny had a temper problem. And if she could use that to her advantage, it would sway a judge. And that's exactly what Ava did. She got Sonny to lose his temper in court, in public, and it worked in her favor. And she's hoping, I said hoping. she's hoping lightning will strike twice and it could work for Trina. And I agree with that. I'm like, you know what? Use it to your advantage. Her jealousy is her kryptonite. Use it. I understand Trina's not that kind of person. She don't want to hurt people and stuff. But I agree with Ava. Trina is in legal hell right now. You are on the verge of possibly going to prison for something you know you didn't do. You know what I'm saying? Use whatever bag of tricks you got to, get out of this mess. When your back is up against the wall, you got to come back swinging. And that, as much as Trina doesn't want to stoop to this level, she might have to. Use it to your advantage. Make Esme lose her cool so that way she'll get angry enough to where she slips up and she says something that can connect her to this crime. Do it. It might be your only option. I mean, you got to do what you got to do to save yourself. But Trina also has another ace up her sleeve, and that's the fact that Spencer is pretty much her alibi. Because remember, she was with him in the cemetery when that video was sent out. So he can testify and prove that she's not the one who did that because he was with her. She never once pulled out her phone and tapped anything. He was talking with her the whole time that video came out. That's her alibi. She should have been used it. And I hope she uses it now. You got to use all your bag of tricks to get out of this mess. So anyway, moving on from that. I was living for that scene between Jocelyn, Cam, Esme. Jocelyn was like a Hellcat on wheels when she came in there. She was ready to claw Esme's eyes out when she saw her hugging on camera. And she was so confused. Her and Trina were so confused by Cameron's behavior. And Cameron just kept kind of talking in riddles, basically. He kept being very vague about why he's, acting strange and stuff like that. But I totally get him. It's like he can't tell Jocelyn what's going on because he knows how she is. She's a hothead. I agree with Spencer on that. She is. She's liable to mess up any little plan that they're working on. But Spencer needs to move this plan along. He did find some useful information, though, when he went up in there. I'm surprised. You know what? I'm not surprised that Spencer knows about Cartulo and all them shoes and all. I'm not even surprised. That man knew the shoe brand. He knew the dates, what seasons it was. He was like, oh, these shoes is from last season. I said, Spencer, how the hell you know all of this about fashion? But then again, I said, you know what? He is wealthy, so yeah, he knows a lot about high-end fashion and what's this season and last season, so I ain't even about to be surprised about that. But he did find a bottle of pills, though, that Esme kept. I'm guessing those are the pills that she used to drug Trina with, but they didn't have a label on them. I'm glad. I'm hoping he keeps those pills because all he gotta do is go to the hospital. He got a connection at the hospital. He can easily ask Britt Westbourne to test those pills to see what kind of pills they are. You know what I'm saying? So keep hold on to those pills, Spencer. And he also found the letters from her nanny, and of course, like a cockroach, Esme was lurking in the shadows, watching him, trying to bust in there on him, pretending to be all outraged that he was snooping through her stuff. And I love how Spencer didn't fall for it because we all know how manipulative Esme is. Like, she will sit there and try to make you feel guilty. But Spencer flipped it on her because she was like, oh, you don't trust me. You don't. He was like, no, you're the one who don't trust me because you're sitting here not telling me about your past and all that. He said, I feel like I don't know you as well as I thought I did. I like how Spencer flipped it on her. He was pretending like he was looking for shades and all that stuff. Like, he flipped it. He flipped it smart, and he came out of it with useful information because now he knows that she's been in contact with her nanny, who she claims that she fell out of touch with. And now he also knows that she has a father somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So now he's getting somewhere. He knows a lot of useful information now that he did not know before. So that was smart. Now he got to figure out what he gonna do with all this information. He got to keep her on a tight rope. Because that's what Esme does. She tries to manipulate whoever she can. Even with Cameron and all them. Oh, what do I have to do to prove myself to you all? And I'm like, girl, Jocelyn was not here first. She said, listen, all you got to do is confess. And of course, Esme's not going to do that. Not right now. Honestly, I feel like they need to hit her ass with a truth serum or something. Like, give her some of that truth serum, slip it in a drink or something, and let her start snitching on herself. Give her some of that, and y'all will be just fine. Do something because y'all need to take her ass down. That's the only way to take Esme down, man. You got to play her game. You got to outmaneuver her ass because she's smart. So you got to find a way to be smarter. It's the only way to take somebody like that down. Outthink them. So anyway, that was pretty much the whole episode. Hit the comment section. Let me know what you all thought. I will see you all later. Have a great day. Peace.